It's Comics and Coffee with Cliff. This morning we got JMED, and we'll be right back after this message. All right, folks, you know him as JMED. You know him as Jonathan Medici. You know him as that guy who shows up every so often on Sector 2815's show.
Hey, Legion of Comics. I'm on there at week's end once every 6 months to check out a movie, talk about a movie.
Right? You know him from Mark's channel. He's over at Legion of Comics to talk about a movie that you probably saw 5 months before the rest of us, which is great. And
sometimes, yes. Sometimes, yes.
Listen, I only know two people who watch movies in advance, and they have two very different backgrounds, and it's very funny to me.
It's a trick. It's an LA thing. It's an LA thing for sure.
Well, no, one of you is in LA, one of you very much isn't, but both of you watch movies in advance, and I think it's hilarious.
You gotta rub the right elbows and know the right people, but yeah, get into some.
I'm
some
so glad you said elbows, and
I mean, there's other body parts, but that's what I'm comfortable with. You go at your own comfort level. You do you.
Listen, that's what my show is about. Right. Anyhow, first and foremost, you have a book coming out, a comic book.
I do.
And
thank you so much.
It is called Eric with an EA, correct?
Eric, like ear-ick.
Oh, it is Eric. Yeah. It is. I'm so afraid that I'm butchering it constantly.
No, it wasn't the smartest name decision, but I'm rolling with it. That's what we got.
Listen, don't you be ashamed of decisions. It's your vision. It's your vision. You make that vision live. All right?
It's living.
We only got Brad. Hi, good morning. Listen, we only got one life. You better live it. You know, and if you're going to do it for real, just like Dolly Parton said. I'm sure other people did too, but I'm going to go with Dolly.
Dolly's awesome.
She is. She's amazing. She's a great person. I love her. The guy who came up with freaking Little Caesars Pizza, may he rest in peace. He was a great person. We're losing all the greats. But
yeah.
Tell us. What's up, my friend? Good morning. All right. Tell us about Eric.
Where to begin? This is the project that started years and years ago. I started writing it in about 2012. I don't even know. I guess I should go even further back, maybe potentially just some like comic book.
Well, I mean, like, how far do you want to go back? I mean, like, you know what? Let's go to you woke up in the middle of the night with a dream, grabbed a pen next to your bed, and started writing. When did that happen?
Okay, fair enough. So, the creation of the universe started somewhere in college. So I'm very old. So about 20 years ago, I was I'm just like a science nerd. So around that time,
very old, by the way. I am 47, and 47 is the new 27. And shut your mouth, because what are you? 47?
43. But so
okay. I will kill for those 4 years. I will kill for those 4 years.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. I thought you were 30. Seriously.
Thank you.
You look spectacular. I had no idea. I would have said you were 28, 30. Like, honest to God, guess.
As you may have heard, the secret to my youth is no children and the loads I have swallowed. So there you go.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hey, I put the disclaimer at the beginning of the show. And there's Couch Nostalgia with C. Vizzo. Brian, thank you. 6 months. I love it.
What's up, guys? But yeah, it was kind of like I was having surgeries at the time. I had some injuries. I played sports. I was an athlete. And in my brain, I started to think, like, in the future, medicine's just going to evolve to something completely different. It's not going to be like you're injecting yourself with, a vaccine or anything like that. I just thought, like, Moore's law, technology getting smaller and smaller, eventually, like, the way in which we heal ourselves, do surgery would be like white microscopic machines, which was kind of the origin of this universe, which is there's two divergent groups. The Gaddic people is kind of slightly less creative, you could say. They're just they've evolved they've manipulated their DNA to kind of be this perfect kind of flawless human being, at least in their mind. So that was around 2000, and I started to think about all the science, the world building, the everything about how they terraformed the planets, how they pulled Mercury, Venus, and Mars into the habitable zone. But that's just when that started. The reason why the book is called Eric is by my approach to storytelling. If you can't get invested in a character, it's probably not going to work, and it's not going to be a great story. So the universe itself is just the window dressing background. And for me, the more immersive and kind of layered it can be, the more dynamic situations you can put your protagonist in. But at the end of the day, the story is really just about in this fictitious future where all these circumstances have changed and humanity is different and there's impossible obstacles. The question would be that I would pose would be what would you do for a loved one, or what would you do to save a child? And it would be, in our reality, there's only so many things we can do. But if you create a science fiction reality, your ability to explore impossible obstacles becomes more dynamic. So in the case of Eric, he's a nanodite, so he has microscopic machines in his body that repair him. So you can do all kinds of stuff with that. So, and then there's two core components to the story. Basically, his wife, which you're seeing on the cover there, that's Lena in the background. And then saving their son, which he's the first sick child in basically 100 years. Because of the nanodites, illness has been eradicated. And then on the side, the Gaddic side of the population, they just engineered it out of their population entirely. So there's, goodbye cancer, anything detrimental to your health is just gone. But that's kind of where our story starts. And then Eric has to figure out exactly how to save his son. He needs to, there's obstacles that he has to face along the way. It's he has to test stuff on himself, because if he tested on his son, it could kill him. He has to perform operations. He has to go around the solar system while evading charges of treason. So very early on in the universe, or in this fictitious world, as Gaddics evolved, right, half of society refused to adopt this technology to change their DNA, and thusly viruses and diseases evolved with that half of society and decimated the engineered half of society. So then in response, nanodites were created. And then that's where when nanodites were actually successful, the first Gaddic tried to put nanodites into a Gaddic body. And because their DNA is so modified, the nanodites actually killed them. So laws were passed. And then if you've seen the trailer, it's dividing lines were drawn, and that's that dividing line. And it became an act of treason to combine the technologies. So there's these two divergent groups of humans. And, in the trailer, it says, when you see your differences, war is inevitable. And that's kind of where we're at. So everyone's trying to get Eric as he's trying his best to save his son.
And speaking of the trailer, we're watching the trailer.
All right, let's go. I love it.
Imagine when man can move planets as if gods. What would humanity meddle with next? Would it be wise or cause death? Gaddic's 9 feet tall perfection have modified their DNA, while nanodites choosing machines to heal from within. Dividing lines drawn, an inevitability between those who see their differences. War. Now amid this conflict, I must save my son. I must protect my family.
Hello, Eric. My name's Ivy. I'm the lead Gaddic geneticist. We're experiencing a massive problem, and we need your help.
We've lost the starboard engine.
Remote failure.
What are you doing?
I'll throw the pump manually.
No, Eric! It's over 3,000 degrees!
All systems active.
What's happening to me? You're hiding him from us. Now, where is he?
You might be the key. The key to everything.
Wherever you are, I will find you.
Lena, I failed us.
Eric, when great men give up, the greatest ones push even harder. Be the greatest, my love.
I just love how, let's just throw in Ivan Tao doing covers. Love that.
Yeah, so there's a little story there too. He actually stepped in, like, and that guy is awesome. Like, I would I love supporting like talented, incredible artists, but it's also really cool to support really cool people. And let me tell you, Ivan's pretty awesome. So if you guys like his artwork or anything like that, he couldn't be a better dude. So super awesome. And that'll be the A cover for the book.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I look forward to be like, hey, Ivan, guess what? I want you to draw very nude men for my comics. Let's do this.
Yeah. Well, the irony is there's going to be, like, one of the options in the Kickstarter is that you're going to be, this is a graphic novel, so it's a full 125 pages, but you're going to be able to get a Virgin, like, floppy for chapter 1 that actually has the original art on the book, which actually does have nudity. I removed that, but I could show it, but I won't. But that'll be a limited, like, Virgin. I think right now there's you can get 200 of those, but chapter 1's 24 pages, and if you're getting the Virgin cover, you'll be able to get the original art, which, like I said, has some nudity in there.
I should have made a TVMA banner just for that, so we could just show it without problems.
It'll be for everyone who gets that tier or decides to get the Virgin along with the A cover.
Now you've roped me in. And speaking of feeling roped in, folks, if you need comic book supplies, don't forget to head over to BCW. They do have deals too good to miss. They always have a sale, and use promo code CliffComics to receive 10% off of your order, and it helps support the channel. So I appreciate you folks.
Love it.
See, product placement. Which, and again, I do use BCW. I have my, oh my God. I should have done sports when I was younger. But here's my BCW slab box.
I need some of those.
Right? Exactly. Remember, Cliff Comics, 10%.
10%.
And so I got some of these and some much other needed supplies. But I really like this. This fits 30 slabs. I haven't even filled it up yet. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, you can see my slabs are, like, randomly on bookshelves and then in the closet. So I need those.
21. I have 21 in here. I'm firing up for my next Only Slabs appearance. I gotta have stories to tell.
All right, Rob's ready to have you on.
I hope so. He's already booked into October, I think. I gotta get in there.
He's got it booked out. That guy's on top of it.
He is, unlike me, where it's like, oh, I had somebody cancel. What am I doing?
Step in. I'll take it.
There you go. There you go.
Fill in.
Listen, you know what? I have a little bit of a writer's mind. Obviously, like you said, technology will help. But I was waiting for one of my friends to respond to something for 3 days, and he just responded right now. And I'm like, yes, he likes it. So,
All right. Do share or do tell if you can.
No, you know what? I'll send you. Remind me to send you a copy of my script and see if you like it.
I mean, that's literally my job. So
I will tell you two things. When I first wrote it, I sent it to a few people. I sent it to one friend who like has a master's degree. I sent it to one friend who dropped out of school at 17. And both of them came back to me with one common item. Why are these dudes hooking up at the end of the book? I don't understand. Like, why are they drawn together? Right. And I'm like, is this like a thing I have to be concerned about? So anyhow, with that, I immediately went back and wrote an additional 9-page origin story, introducing the characters and their potential future nemesis. So I have this anthology book for my first issue where it's okay. Let's meet two of our leads, one villain, one story that takes place later on in World War II for one of them, another one for another one, and then the intimate hookup at the end, which takes place essentially the same day or weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, they both said, "Oh my God, it's so much better with an introduction." And I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can try to make this work.
I think that's maybe that's what I do for a living. I literally all day, every day, I'm reading scripts. So that's my job. Happy to check it out.
I gotta say, I'm terrified to get the 100 notes coming back, like when
I wouldn't do that. First off, that's a lot of work, but the way I approach giving notes, like with I'm a professor, so the students that I work with, it's kind of twofold. It's one, I'm trying to, of course, educate. Like you gotta have a skill set, like if you're paying to get a degree. But the secondary thing is I never want to change what anyone is trying to write. So I want to sink into your shoes. So if you do send me something, I would actually have you pitch it to me and tell me what you're trying to execute. Because once you understand what the vision is for the project, you can cater your notes to fit that vision. Because oftentimes, like in Hollywood or in an academic setting, what ends up happening is an individual will give you notes based on what their preferences are or the direction they want to take the story versus what the writer is trying to accomplish. And it just does you a disservice. So it's like in the same, I don't know the context of your story, but to get a note like we don't understand, if you have two common notes, it's probably a good one to look at. And what
yeah, of course, that was the thing. Right. The other stuff was like, I don't want to say was closer to superficial, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want it to sound like that, but it was like stuff that like, oh, well, this could be fixed when I have an artist or this could easily be addressed. But the thing, like, why are these guys getting together? Like, oh no, like that's a very strong response that two very different people are giving me.
So that happens actually a lot in the scripts. We're deviating here big time, but it's awesome. Like in the scripts that I read, that's actually a thing that happens a lot. And the reason for that is like you got to earn a hookup a lot of the times in a story. So if you're not doing the groundwork, and like if it was a movie or a comic, it's like screen time. You have to put those characters on the screen to build that relationship so that it's earned. The response I get, because I live in LA and stuff, and it's like that's not how our community works. And I'm like, okay, but it's still like in terms of building out a narrative, like you gotta lay the groundwork and engage the audience so that it's earned, and then just create like a sequence. So it sounds like
there is like a two-way street on like how our community works, because when you're telling the story, how much do you want it to reflect the reality, right?
Right.
And versus the reality as like for instance, like my story has a World War II setting, right? But like I just am choosing there not to be a problem with gender or sexuality in my World War II setting.
Yeah. Is it like, well, I have a question for you then. Is it actually in the war? Or is it absolutely during the war?
Yes.
Oh, well, I don't know. My curiosity is piqued, but it's like also in times
okay, I was trying to
go. You go. Give it to me.
No, I was trying to find my original pitch because I submitted my pitch to 6 different publishers, and everyone said, "Wow, that's a strong pitch. We're not doing it. You know, it's too sexual." And I'm like, I can make it less sexual, but no.
Well, it's like with I can see, so the producer brain and the cost of like producing everything, it immediately starts to go into your, like when we're creatives, right? And you're just constructing a story, like we're writing checks that like can't translate into the real world in terms of like the actual production costs of everything. So it's like, who's your target audience? Like, and if you're going more and more sexual, or, you know, doing, it gets a narrower band, but then also the costs increase because like even though like print runs you would have wouldn't be as big, and you couldn't get the discounts and stuff. So a producer is just thinking about all those things. And oftentimes that's a bigger part of their calculation than you'd really expect. I know with like
just trying to make a book for the girls and the gays. I'm just trying to do it for the girls and the gays. Come on,
dude. Like I'm telling you, just don't even bring it to a publisher. Just get out, like do it if you got the bandwidth. Do it yourself.
All right, I found the pitch.
All right, let's hear it.
The world is on the brink of collapse. A group of ordinary citizens with extraordinary powers have formed covert groups of mystery men around the world. Together, as the Honorborn, they are dedicated to stopping the Axis powers and unhinged occultists threatening the world around them. Himbo Heroes takes place in World War II, where the Axis threat has pushed the world to the edge of tyranny. As governments struggle to respond to mounting crises, they turn to unique mystery men and their gifted abilities to turn the tide of war. Among these mystery men, Manolito Diaz, Phantom Soldier, a young scientist whose newfound shadow powers allow him to hide in plain sight, as well as maintain great speeds. Manny grew up in Puerto Rico, traveled to Washington, D.C., looking for aid in his research. Dr. Vonder took great interest in this young man, even seducing him to try and steal his research. They battled in an underground laboratory, and the resulting mishap from their battle left them both with new abilities. And then I have a description of his uniform. Dr. Frederick Vonder, Matter Magus, a master scientist who is both an advanced physicist and engineer. His powers of matter manipulation make him a frightening and formidable foe. He becomes torn between his desire to fulfill his allegiance to the Nazi Party and his own warped ambitions. After the incident giving him abilities took place, his brilliant mind has only become more unhinged, leaving him focused on his lust for power and pleasure. He will use his abilities to consolidate power for himself and become quite problematic as the war moves forward. Jaden Jones, a former soldier whose superhuman strength and combat skills make him a powerful force, but also leaves him questioning whether he should use his powers for good or succumb to the impulses of the man that gave him his new legs and a second chance at life, Dr. Vonder. And Anya Allen, a young person whose abilities to teleport allow them to escape devastation in Warsaw, but also leaves them grappling with feelings of guilt and revenge. Anya feels more comfortable dressing in women's clothes and often goes by the name Anya, though born as Aiden. Anya has spent much of the time in the war becoming a master of disguise. So that was like my original drop.
That's good, man. I was locked in the whole time. I mean, number one, it's really well written. It's also super. I mean, my advice would literally be kind of what I said a second ago. It's like, it sounds awesome. Obviously, what the script looks like is important too. But it's like, what's stopping you? I mean, it is.
Well, I wrote the script. That's a big step for me. I wrote the script.
I mean, well, why not find an artist? Like I'm one of the
no, because money is a thing that exists, and I want us. I don't. This is gonna sound really awful because a lot of people have said, "Oh, find an artist, do this, do that." It's another Dolly Parton thing. If you're gonna do it for real. I want what I want. There's very specific artists who I would do, and I'm sure there would cost me a certain amount of money. And if I want someone like them, I can go through somebody like Joe Prado, right? Mm-hmm. And he could find me somebody of the Brazilian artist who could do it. But even at lower rates from Brazilian and Argentinian artists, right? It's still quite a bit of money.
How many pages are you thinking?
Well, so far the script is at, let's review. The script has me at around 48 pages.
Okay, yeah, I could quickly do the math for you immediately and tell you how much it's going to be.
It's got. I feel like the words 10,000 or more are going to come out of your mouth.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's where you're going. I mean, yeah, I mean, you're. I mean,
I think like I could probably get away with 9,600. I feel like maybe. Right? But that's without factoring in other costs, printing costs, variant covers, should I choose to do that. Those are all the other fluff pieces. So I have concerns. But do I also think it could be a successful story? Yes.
I mean, we're literally talking about my situation right now. My book's 125 pages. I financed it myself. It took 10 years to save the money. And that
I can only imagine the hustle that was going on for that.
It was just more like being a broke person and not doing anything more than the hustle, to be honest. It's scraping together.
I'm used to being a broke person, so I love that.
Yeah, I mean, that's to be completely transparent. Like, my comic book collection would be a whole lot bigger if I wasn't literally every penny of every week going to pay an artist and all the other costs. So 9,600 would be amazing. You can put a multiple on that for where I'm at.
I'm thinking 9,600 for 48 pages. If I find a reasonably priced Brazilian or Argentinian artist,
yeah,
who will give me Aaron Lepresti level of work.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
right. I know what I want. Right.
I mean, that's so. You're on the nose. Like you're spot on. Like, I mean, in an ideal world, you want the art to be exactly the way you want it to look, and also as high a quality as humanly possible, because that's going to help, represent your story the best and also sell it. So, yeah, it can get very expensive. We can have a whole conversation about that. We could do a whole nother.
And of course, what I also want to do is I want to incorporate public domain characters into it.
Okay.
Right? Because I feel like, why not? Right? Like, they're just like, they're battling across enemy lines and then freaking Captain Battle is there. And it's like, oh, what's up?
Yeah. I mean, like that in terms of the story, it's also great on the backside of it to be able to like market your product that way too. Because like the name recognition of throwing in anything that's recognizable helps out. So you're doing everything right, in my opinion. I mean, it sounds awesome. And I mean, the first step is always writing a good script. So I'm impressed. I didn't know this about you. I didn't know that you had this and everything is out there. So I love it.
Oh, listen, I'm like a theater gay nerd, and like my biggest problem in life, like if I could go back, and there's so many things I would love to go back and change, but obviously you can't change them because like you never would have grown, right?
Right.
So like, but there's so much stuff I didn't do when I was younger because I was afraid, you know? And then the older I got, and the people who I look at and I admire, the people I look at and admire, all of them, even if they were afraid, they were just sticking with it even through the worst of times, And then they finally got somewhere, and it took forever. And like when my friends and I are like complaining about being in our 40s or 50 approaching, and I'm like, Stan Lee was in his 40s when he created Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and don't you forget it, we're not dead yet.
No, totally. And that was I can see that on stage right now. You were projecting. That was awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Well, I was a theater kid, and like
so was I.
The sad thing, here, I'll tell you something extra sad. But you see, you played sports, so like you unwittingly protected yourself, right? I had no protection being a theater kid, and then extra sad in my mind. Although I did make some friends being a theater kid, I still felt rejected even as a theater kid, right?
Interesting.
So like feeling like you're an outcast in your chosen outcast family can suck.
Can we bond here? Can we do a little therapy? So the interesting thing about my like middle school and high school experience where I was doing theater, I was also in band, and I was in like the AP classes as a nerd. I would go to like my sports practices after school and get made fun of as the nerd. And then I would go into those classes and they would make fun of me as the jock. And then it was like, even in the, like, my Mr. Cohagen, who was my, or Mr. Campfield, who was my AP European history like professor or teacher, I guess. He's not a professor. Like he thought I was like an idiot. Like he didn't like, you know, he didn't really want me in that class. So I can actually completely kind of relate to the feelings you had. I never really felt like I belonged anywhere. And it was weird. Like in my high school days.
I don't like this teacher. I do not like this teacher from what you're
Yeah,
telling
he punched me in the head one time with a ring. Like he had this big ring and he came over and punched me in the head. And I was like, dude, do that again, see what happens. Except he was like 6'6", and I'm not that big a guy. But when you're like 17, you get a little chesty. But
no, that is not appropriate at all. That is not approved behavior in any decade. Okay, because let me tell you, my mother's 5'4" Puerto Rican ass would have whooped him good. She would have been like, she would have leaped off of a chair, be like, oh, you think you're tall? She would have leaped off of the chair and beat him down to the ground.
See, that's New York though. Like, so I'm actually from New York. I was born in Yonkers, and it was, you know, an Italian neighborhood. My neighbor got hit. When he got hit with a wrench. Like his mom hit him with a wrench. And
right, but if
like
someone else hit him,
oh, she would have killed that person with
right,
that
she would have
same
killed
wrench.
that. Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. So I misbehaved. I got a chancleta. The chancleta hit me, but someone else touched me. My mother was out there looking for blood. You know.
Yeah.
You have no business. You have no business touching my child. You know.
Well, the funny thing is, I think like in New York or in California, and like all my friends have kids and stuff, like hitting a kid or spanking anything is like unheard of.
Right.
And
exactly.
like, I'm like, oh man, if I got off with a spanking, that was like the easy thing. It was like getting slapped in the face and hoping you didn't lose a tooth.
Yeah.
That was the good old 80s and 90s of being a kid growing up in those neighborhoods.
It's absolutely true, because I you know, like, but anyhow, it's like I didn't grow up with parents who like really beat us, thank God. Like it was never like that, you know, like maybe a spanking, right? But like my grandmother was a bit more aggressive, my mom's mom.
Same.
But still it was one of those things where like pow pow pow, get in your freaking room. It was never like like ongoing abuse. I had some friends that like definitely their parents, you know, now who are still alive are like, oh my God, like I didn't know I was going overboard when you were young. I was doing what I thought was the right thing, and now I look back and I feel terrible, you know.
Yeah.
And like one of my friends is like borderline resent, or actually he's a little resentful. His father is so sweet with his son, right? And he's just like, you are the father I always wanted with my kid, and this is really, it took him like 4 years to get over it. It took him 4 years to just pack it all away, right?
I totally relate to it, but I think like in terms of, I won the lottery with my parents, like, you know, 99% of the world didn't have the great experience I had, but I got slapped and spanked and stuff. And it like, there was this moment when I became an adult, or it wasn't even being an adult. It was probably around 18 or something, where you realize your parents are just bigger kids, like, and they're doing the best they can. So like when you're getting spanked and stuff, they were doing the best they could. They didn't have the context for it. And to be honest, I think I'll just be completely honest, getting spanked and slapped every so often, I think actually was probably a good thing on some level.
And by the way, like we do have like a corporal punishment law there. Like even here in New York, like everyone's like, oh my God, never. And we remind people, it's like, if you spanked your child, like a normal spanking for discipline, like that's not actually against any law, right? But like when you do some wild stuff, like go for the wrench, right? There is a line, and like, you know,
right.
Like, it's a whole thing. But, you know, of course, now I'm surrounded by people who can never dream of it, you know? And my mom really was never into that kind of discipline. And unless it was like really bad, and even then it was like a regular spanking. But there was one time where one of her friend's kids ran away from home, and she found her, and she had her friends come meet her at the office, right? So she's sitting there with the girl, her friends come in, her parents begin to whoop her, and my mom threw herself on top of the girl and was like, no.
Oh,
like,
man.
No. What she did was awful, but not this.
So this is hilarious because, all right, now I'm going to share this. I'm going to go right at you with the similar thing. So after in New York, after school, I used to go to CCD. So we would go across the street to our church, and I couldn't read. I really struggled to read as a kid, and I was asked to read the Bible, and the nun started hitting me with like a stick, and I panicked and ran. So I just sprinted out. And our neighborhood, Pelham Manor, like there's no fences, so you could just go through houses and houses.
So everyone's watching you run through the backyards.
But you could disappear. Like you're gone in like 5 seconds. So I was gone in 5 seconds, but then I knew like I needed your mom to dive in between, because when my mom found me, that was one of two, like where it was probably more than a spanking. But yeah, I ran away, and that is obviously pretty terrible. But yeah, it was my excuse. A nun was hitting me with the sticks.
Right,
like,
and I bet your mom had feelings on that too, right?
I mean, to be honest, she like maybe, I don't know.
I'm willing to bet your mom had feelings on that, but ultimately, like, so here's a good thing, because especially now that you're writing and you're reading other people's work, so like, what did you learn about your reading issue, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, okay. Oh man. So this is actually something I'm super passionate about. So if you're cool with talking about it for a little bit, because so I was in the WGA, the Writers Guild of America, for close to a decade, and I was actually in the Writers with Disabilities group. So I was in there with somebody that has a visual and auditory learning disability, with the goal of, if I can have success with like this comic book or some of my animated features or other things, I could then go out into like LA Unified School District and help kids for sure, but also parents who have kids that can't read. Because when there's that disconnect and you don't know what's wrong with your child, it can be as frustrating on a parent as it is for the child. But to answer your question, or to go back a little bit, like here's my origin story on my learning disability. So my brother is like a 1600 perfect SAT person. And we were watching Star Wars as a kid, and the scroll comes on, and he can read it, and I can't. So the scroll is going by, and I'm whatever I am, 6, 7 years old, and my brother's reading it to me, and my mom, who she is the most amazing mom, just like your mom sounds like. We all have great moms. She wanted to know what was wrong with me. So she went from being a singer, and she taught at a magnet school in performing arts, to getting her master's degree in resource specialty, so RSP teacher, and now she has her doctorate and double master's. And anyway, she just wanted to know what was wrong with me, so she shifted her whole life to basically help me. And without that, I wouldn't be in this call right now. I wouldn't have this book. I wouldn't have any of those things. But I went from being, you get what's called an IEP, so they give you an IQ test, and they kind of analyze and they figure out what's wrong with you, or I shouldn't say what's wrong with you. It's like,
I was gonna say, let's stop using what's wrong with you. That's 1980s terminology.
I'm an 80s kid, so
listen. One of my friends in school had a similar situation, and the doctor said to his mom, right, there is nothing wrong with your child. There's nothing here for us to fix. Right, We're just going to try and help him do better. And it worked. And it turned out he had a very rare dyskinesia or something. Does that sound right? I think I'm using the wrong word, but it was one of those things where your audio and visual receptors like don't line up, right? And so but they figured it out, And but his mom has never forgotten that. His mom never forgot when the doctor gently told her, hey, there's nothing wrong with your kid. We're just trying to help him do better. And I have been living with that inside since like I was a kid or a teenager, I should say. Like, I'm like, that's right. We're just trying to do better.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah. So I misspoke, and I apologize. But
no, don't worry. Like, no, you're speaking from experience, and I get that.
Yeah. So like at that point, like I went from, my elementary school teachers, this was like in second grade, so it wasn't like I was deep into school or anything, but it was, you know, he's way behind, he's not this, he's that. So they give you these tests, you know, they don't really do the IQ test stuff anymore, but that's what it was at the time. And then I went from like, the scores came back or whatever, and I went into a GATE program. So instead of being like in a remedial classroom where I, you know, couldn't read or write, I was actually in a GATE program. And then for like an hour a day, I would go into a resource specialty room where their technique to kind of trigger my brain was I would write on like sandpaper. And the idea was like, if you were getting sensory, like added to like reading the alphabet and all those things, it would help you. I did that for basically all the way through high school. And I was this is way back. And this is something like coming back to the WGA stuff that I talked about a second ago. Back then it was called, you could enroll in something called Reading for the Blind and Dyslexic. And what, like any textbook that I had, I would actually call them and say, hey, I need somebody to read this. And the guy that always read mine sounded like Tom Brokaw, but you would get cassette tapes and you would pop them in. And like when I was 16, I needed to read The Rights of Man. It took like 60 hours to listen to it, but it was like Tom Brokaw basically read it and sent it to me. And that's how I kind of hid all my insecurities and stuff. And that actually goes back to the same thing you were discussing about not fitting in. Like I was terrified of anyone finding that out. So on like a Friday night, instead of hanging out with my friends, I would be listening to my books because I thought I was falling behind. But yeah, nowadays there's a lot of technology that can help you. Like even most people don't realize, like you can, if you have a PDF, you just click on it and it'll read it to you. Like a 14, 15-year-old who gets in a homework assignment might not realize that right in the technology, right in front of you on your laptop, you just open up Firefox and there's an add-on on Firefox that'll read the whole web page to you. And
but not like Tom Brokaw. It's not
no,
not that. You gotta pay for the Tom Brokaw voice.
That's probably true, but yeah, you can actually there's like voice options and all these things. So even 5 years ago, it wasn't that great, and it sounded very much like a computer-generated voice. Yeah, but these things have progressed.
And talented education programs that were common in the 1990s.
That's me. Yeah, exactly. But for example, even like if you're familiar with screenwriting, they have a program called Final Draft. That's kind of the industry standard, and it formats everything for you. You can highlight characters' names now and literally program voices and hit a button and it'll read it to you. And
that's amazing.
You can speed it up. You can slow it down if you want to be like it. The technology is phenomenal. And even, for example, like when I'm sending a script out into Hollywood or wherever it's going out, even like Google Drive, the spell check is actually not a spell check. It's referencing the internet. So like if you're writing dialogue or something like that, that might not get picked up by like a Word spell check. You copy and paste that document into a Google Drive doc, and then you'll see all the highlighted stuff where like commas are missing. And then you kind of reference it against like a Word document kind of spell check and the Google Doc, and you get it to exactly so there's no issues in the whole script.
That's amazing. Also, Final Draft is like affordable. Oh my God.
Wait, Final Draft's like $300 or something.
Yeah, but like that's not like impossible. Like sometimes you look up software and it's like, and yes, for $3,492.
Oh, like Adobe. Yeah.
Right. And Final Draft has a sale right now. Final Draft 13 is $174.99. Sale ends August 22nd.
Yeah, so Final Draft used to be like $29.99. So, and then they keep iterating on it and kind of doing upgrades, but it isn't really that bad, to be honest. And also just being able to buy a product nowadays, like software, it's not even really an option for a lot of things. It's this subscription based, like, hey, I know when I signed up for Adobe, I was so angry because they got me for like a 3-year thing that I thought it was, you could cancel anytime. And then I went to cancel it and they tried to charge me like $350. And they're like, or we can make it $10 a month and then you can stay on. And I'm like, wow, you guys are pieces of.
They really are. And now they have that new thing that basically says, oh, yeah, we own your art.
So you can uncheck that, by the way, at least as far as. Yeah, now you can. You like if anybody listening is using Adobe, go into your settings and turn all that stuff off because you're training their models like when you're using the AI on that software. So just be aware of that.
And I don't like how that sort of blurs the lines for artists because when the tools are now AI enhanced tools, you're unwittingly using AI in your art when like that's usually what artists are standing against, you know?
Yeah. I mean, this is a whole can of worms of its own conversation too. Like the Writers Guild doesn't want that in like movies, but producers want it because it eases and streamlines. It's like whatever perspective you have, like AI will help you, but at the same time, it's like taking away from somebody else. And if you're going to that person's shoes, you're like, you can't use it. You can't use it. So it is, I don't know what anyone's going to be doing.
I used AI playfully a couple of times, what I deemed as playfully. And I had friends in the comic book industry like reach out and go, Cliff, please, I mean this with all due love. Like, don't use this shit. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I've actually never touched it like at all. But here's what one of my friends did. He's in the video game industry. And I like was terrified. I was like, oh my God, no. So this is before my book was even like released or you could really get much on it anywhere. There was my website and it had a couple of the pages up there and actually had quite a few of the pages. He went into whatever the Discord one is. And I was like, I need to get a cover. And he typed it in and he showed it to me. And I was like, oh no, like I don't even want to see that. Like get that out of, but the art, I was like, fuck. This is tough. So I don't touch it. I don't mess with it. No, I like artists. I want them to get paid. I want this community to thrive. Like anytime you introduce that stuff, you know, all you're doing is you're shooting somebody in the foot, even if you think it's good for you.
Right, exactly. And it's terrible. Like, and the other day, a friend of mine told me that, like, oh, by the way, like, be careful using ChatGPT. John, love you. Good morning. He's like, be careful using ChatGPT because, like, you know, the more people who use it, it's like draining water from like low income areas. And I'm like, what? And I'm like Googling it. I'm like, oh my God, why is everything evil? Why do we only make evil things? I'm like, I'm sorry. That movie Wall Street, that was horrible. Greed is good. And greed is not good. Someone can't take a shower right now because we're playing around with ChatGPT, wanting to know what our cat would look like if she were gray instead of orange. Like, no, terrible.
We gotta get you on. We gotta get you writing more because you got some chops, and that you gotta put together an hour-long sitcom or something in comedy.
You should have seen my stand-up. My stand-up, I open with, "Hi everyone." I'm like, my name's Clifford. And everyone's like, hi, Clifford. I said, I know what you're thinking. What kind of parents name their child Clifford? You know? And that's like the opening to my act.
There you go. You got the Clifford Seinfeld. You just bring it back. There you go. You got it.
Except the fact that I need my show to actually have meaning. I believe in growth and I like growth. And that show and Larry and Curb Your Enthusiasm are anti-growth.
They're a show about nothing. I mean, come on, can't hate on it that much. But yeah.
Oh no. I respect it for what it is. Let's be clear. But I can't do that, you know?
I mean, you could do not that, then do a show like Scrubs or something where there's heart in there and
absolutely. And I love Scrubs. You picked such a great, like I would do that. So like all the shows I've ever been drawn to, Scrubs, Parks and Recreation. Strangely enough, not The Office. Like I like The Office, but The Office doesn't like make my heart sing the way Parks and Rec does.
Yeah. Totally. There you go. Here's my offer to you. Write the 30, get the final draft for $179. Write your TV spec pilot, and I'll read it for you and I'll turn around a whole set of notes for you. Scrubs is phenomenal.
You know what's really funny? Like my friends want to do something sitcom like, and my ideas are too aggressive or inappropriate for them.
So the interesting thing about that is if you want some insight into like Hollywood, a lot of those, like say you're applying to be a staff writer on a television show, if you have a writing sample like you just described that actually sticks out from a pile of ordinary, bland, like vanilla, everybody's writing the same thing, you actually like could potentially be staffed a lot quicker with something like that. Then, you don't have the name or the brand recognition to sell the script as its own show. but you could get a staff writing gig potentially like more easily with something that is kind of shocking or surprising. Like I've had so many conversations with showrunners and they're like, oh, this person got staffed because the first 5 pages of their writing sample was like, this is actually a real story that I heard. It was like about a sausage being eaten by like a burrito or something insane. And it was just madness. And the showrunner's like, this person's so insane, I need them in the room. And they got staffed. And I was like, shit, all I needed to do was write a like insane hot dog. Like I can do that. Like, fine, sure. Let me get the job. So don't necessarily like, next time you get advice like that, come to me. I'll give you the full spectrum of like what.
Listen, all I truly want, and I don't even want that much. I want my slice of the pie, but I just need it to be this big. All I want is to be the big gay Oprah of comics, right? If it's anything bigger than that, I will like. That's amazing. But like, I just want the day to come where I can host a panel at a big Comic-Con. And before people leave the room, there's a golden ticket under their seats, and they can go claim their slab before they leave. And I can be like, you get a slab, you get a slab, you get a slab, you all get a slab. Like, that's it. That's my big moment that I want. So
wait. In the vein of Harpo, your production company will be
Cliffco.
No, you gotta go backwards. Like Harpo, you want to be Oprah?
Yeah, but
Oprah.
Philco?
Philk.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. I don't want to do that.
If you want to be Oprah, you got to do it.
Or I do Drofco, Drofko,
there you go.
Drofco.
There you go. There you go.
Droff it's the other half of Clifford, like whatever.
You sold it now. See, you're playing the game. You gotta. If you want to be Oprah, there you go.
My middle name is Alan, so we can work with that too.
Alan will work. We could flip that around. I like it. All right, we got a plan of action. We got action items. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Just week after week, me, comic book artist. Like, let's just kick it. Episode 1, I want Phil Jimenez. Yeah, awesome. I want Phil Jimenez for episode 1. I want Walt Simonson, Lee Simonson for episode 2. Yeah.
We can. I know Tim Sheridan pretty well, so we can.
Oh my God! Get me Tim Sheridan, because his rep or whatever, like, basically was like, would just like talk to me for like a minute and then just sent me on my way.
I'm actually, Tim's a really great guy. Really great guy.
He seems great.
Yeah, he was going to actually come, and we still might do this, by the way. So they were going to, him and his producing partner and some of the other writers we were going to do a screening for some of his films at my university, and he's potentially going to come by. It's just the logistics of making sure everyone's available to do that. But Tim's a, like, kind of like Ivan, talking about like genuinely good people. Tim is a special person. He's a genuinely wonderful guy. So yeah. Anyway, he would be a guest.
His work warms my heart.
He would be a guest on your show for sure. I'm pretty sure he'd be game for that. So we gotta lock down your Harpo, and then we're golden.
Well, how about let's just have him come on for Comics and Coffee. Jeez,
I will. All right, here. Okay, we'll talk backstage. How about that? Since we'll talk backstage. Okay.
Great. Now I'm terrified again. Thank you.
It won't be the experience Hollywood experience we were chatting about earlier. How about that? It won't be that.
I don't need a Hollywood experience. I'm just saying. First of all, I would like to get some of these people on my show as it is, but like, dream of like having a studio and an audience and real talk, and basically the magic of like the actor studio, but it's comic book related. I would love it.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea. I would love to see it happen. I mean, one of the things that drew me to this community is, number one, how welcoming and how awesome all of you are, like, genuinely. But your knowledge about this stuff is unbelievable. Like, you guys are like, your encyclopedias of comic book history, of everything that's going on. And I don't know, I'd be all for it, man. I love you guys. I love everybody in this community. It's pretty remarkable. And everybody is awesome. Like I haven't had one experience where, I don't know. Anyway, I'm game for it, is what I'm saying.
That's okay. People are awesome. I love it. It's like, listen, it's because we actually care about the books that we're reading and
totally
and putting in plastic coffins. And like
totally. Yeah. I love it.
Need to make it happen, Cliff. I would love
We're gonna do it. We're gonna figure it out. I love it.
We are gonna figure it out. Okay, we're actually get to some comics now.
Oh, boo.
So,
I mean, yes, let's go.
We're gonna start something simple with the comic of the week. I'm gonna break the ice and go first.
All right, cool. Yeah.
So my comic of the week, written by Steve Fox. It's the final issue. Woo, I just dropped it now, but it's the final issue of the New Champions, issue 8.
Oh, very cool. I like it.
I am, and the thing is like they debuted in Spider-Woman, and then her final issue, written by Steve Fox as well, like led to this series. And obviously, I don't know why people just weren't into it. I really enjoy that there's a new generation of characters. I like that the majority of these characters, it's because they're Hydra experiments, right? And then of course there's other things going on. One of the main storylines is right from issue 1, Hell Ruin is like, even before Hydra messed with her, she had access to this supernatural Asgardian-like weapon, right? And Papa, good morning. Paulo, good morning. All the way from Portugal, love it. And so, of course, this resolves. We're introduced to other characters, but this resolves her storyline, where there's actually like a coven, right? And the coven is trying to use her and the weapon to control one of the Asgardian gods.
Oh, nuts.
And so, of course, this issue resolves that, and then it's like the end for now, which always is a bummer for me. But I think these characters are really interesting. I think they are characters for a new generation, and much like other new generation characters, I feel like we'll get there eventually. But as bummed out as I am about this, some of the other new champions are appearing in other titles, like the kid who's a knockoff of Black Cat just showed up in Miles Morales. So I have hopes. So my comic of the week, New Champions. There's only 8 issues, folks. Go out and get them.
I love it. My book of the week is Aquaman 8.
Look at
8,
that
right?
cover. Look at that sexy I'm on a throne cover.
This is the variant cover. I don't know. It's just one of the variants. It's not a what's it called? A ratio. But if you've been following along, Jeremy Adams, really cool. Kind of introduced some new.
I love him. I met him this weekend.
Did you really?
Weekend. Yeah, Terrificon. He is so great. So great.
So he's another. So Jeremy is another amazing person. He came to speak to my students, and we
so great.
We hung out, and he's another exceptionally quality human. So I'm going to read whatever he does, but also his stuff is awesome. So if you haven't seen this, I don't know if I should do spoilers or not for this week, but we got the little xenomorph on Aquaman, taking him out, and then I won't spoil the end of the book, but it was awesome. I was like, oh shit, like I did not see that coming. And number one, I also I always kind of take takeaways from writers. Like the way he pulls you through the page is amazing. Like his writing style is awesome. I love it. It flows. It's perfect. So check out, this is my book of the week. And to be honest, my pull's pretty small at this point. So I'm enjoying that.
Well, you got to pay for your comics to come out. Like
that's the, like, so yeah. So I used to have, whatever, the normal 5, 6, 7 books on my pull potentially a week. It's down to
6 a month.
Give it maybe less. No, like I definitely get, and we're gonna see some other books here, but it's like kind of my collecting style. Like when I see a variant cover, it might not even be something that I'm really like juiced to read, but I'm like, that's beautiful. I got to get it. So anyway, this is my book of the week. If you haven't been up on Aquaman, I would go back. You're not too far into it, and I think it's awesome.
I love that. I love that. All right, we're gonna speed right into my next favorite segment. So my next favorite thing comes straight from Terrificon. Jerry Ordway was there, and I was like scrambling for a book for him, and I found one that I've always really enjoyed the cover. And not only did he sign it, but we even quickly discussed doing a remark, and he did an awesome remark of Wildcat.
Wow, that's incredible.
Isn't that amazing? Like, I was just in awe the whole time.
That's pretty unbelievable.
You know, and look at that. That is so precise.
It almost looks like it's part of the cover. That's
exactly. This man. I have no words. He is a legend among us, and the way he did this with just a couple of art tools on hand, and bam, this became part of the cover. And I'm like, oh my God, I love it. I love it so much.
So just because we just talked about Jeremy, here's him at my school.
Aww.
So he came, and there's my book in his hand. The guy's a good guy. He's a really genuinely good person.
No,
so.
he was one of the two best people I had a conversation with at Terrificon. Him and Scotty Young, right? And yeah. I had zero expectations talking to Scotty Young. Like, the man is like not on my official radar, right? And we started talking, and the next thing you know, I'm telling him that I experienced bi panic because I saw Bitsy Toulouse and her husband, and they're so gorgeous in person. And I was like, oh my God, could I sleep with both of them? Am I bi? Am I bi now because of Bitsy? What is happening? I was like, oh my God, is this bi panic? I'm having bi panic. So I'm explaining it to him, and he's dying laughing. And he goes, so bi panic he's like, is that what happened to me when I met Jason Momoa? I was like, what happened meeting Jason Momoa? He goes, well, I broke into a sweat. We did a convention together. He called me over. He knew my name. He bought me a beer. I had beads of sweat running down my face. And this man was so handsome and charismatic. I didn't know what to do with myself the whole time. And I said, that, my friend, is bi panic. Right on. So we had a great laugh. He thanked me for introducing him to a new term. We took pictures. So him and Jeremy Adams were like the two best. And then Jeremy Adams, we were just talking about writing. We talked about the JSA World War II movie he wrote for the DC animated. We just chatted and chatted. He was wonderful. Wonderful.
By the way, if you go to his booths at a con, you can buy his screenplays.
Yes, he had them. And I was like, he's like, how about this? And I said, let me tell you something. I said, I really appreciate what you're doing, because I was telling him about Comic Screen Cancer and my Toys for Tots toy drive every year, right? And I said, I appreciate what you're doing here, but let me tell you for a fact, no one at my toy drive is going to buy a script. No, none of them are buying a script. I'm like, let's find something else to do.
So we did have a chat about that last at WonderCon, when I was like, most people don't know what a screenplay looks like, yet alone like, but they're awesome. They're awesome.
Do you know what I have a screenplay of from when I was in high school?
What's that?
Star Wars.
Whoa, that's
and there's
cool.
and it's not an original. It's a reproduction, right? Yeah. But it's got all the original notes and all these crazy things about Vader and Luke Starkiller. Like, all that shit is there in this. Yeah, it's so cool. But it was one of those things that you got through a fan club, right? And so you got so it came with the blue cover, Star Wars, and then that tapered binding, right? and then the pages look like, you know, pages from a typewriter. You know what I'm talking about, right? And the old school time. Oh, who are you?
Hey, Alex.
Amped. Good morning.
Yeah.
Collectibles. Listen, Ant Collectibles has a sale going on. They got some Alex Ross signed shit over there. You go take advantage. You could be entered into a giveaway. They got everything going on at Ant Collectibles. Go check them out. Show them some love. Tell them Cliff sent you. Please leave it in the comments.
That guy's awesome, by the way.
I'm about to snatch up some Thor. I might be snatching up some Thor. I don't have the money yet. I'm waiting. Listen, when payday comes, I may have to snatch up a Thor if there's any left.
When you option that book, you got to option that book, and then you get that Harpo money.
Listen, who actually has turned any of these books into full careers? It's a bit hit and miss. I'm not ready to believe in myself that much. But I am willing to believe in me the way Dolly Parton would believe in me, which is get it done and see what happens, and then move on from there. You know.
Well, I mean, so I know that you and I think I've heard you say this in other streams before, but I love animated series. Like Justice League Unlimited is unbelievable, and you go back all the way X-Men, Batman, all those things. Invincible is kind of an example of what we're talking about, and that show, if you're not up to date on that,
amazing.
The third season is
so good.
That show, it's so good. It's so good.
I like how in season 2 they made fun of themselves for cutting corners in season 2. You know, totally. but they still did some good stuff. Did I ever tell you about what I wanted to do for my animated series?
I'd love to hear it, but I don't think so.
It's basically Batman and the Flash fall in love, right?
Okay.
So what happens is we open with this girl crying, and she's with her speedster boyfriend, and her speedster boyfriend is like, and there's like a Brainiac style ship attacking in the background, and we keep cutting to their discussion and the stuff going on in the background, and they're like speedster, we need you, and it's like, no, you can't. This is really important. I'm sorry, like my girlfriend needs me. Right. And they're doing all their stuff and they can handle it without him. But like, obviously you need a speedster would help. Right. And so he's like having the conversation with his girlfriend, and she's like, but this is like too much. Like there's never a break from being this and being with me. And she's like, look at me. She's like, you didn't make it to my father's funeral. Right. Mm-hmm. And so she's just like, I'm sorry, but this is over. So she does. So that's the opening act. Is she dumps him and the Brainiac ship gets taken down, right? So he's got no place to go. His fiance threw him out. He's all sad. So the first episode is very Odd Couple. And so the Batman character takes him into his penthouse, right? And it's a gorgeous penthouse, Olympic swimming pool, solar panel moving skylight for the swimming pool area, full gymnasium. So while the Flash character is just there, feeling skinny because he's got super metabolism, and like the Batman character is just working out, ripped, sweating, and the Flash character's like, why am I like really obsessed watching him working out, right? And
that's his bi-curious moment,
right? That's his bi-curious moment, and then and the Batman character is like watching movies with him and trying to make him feel better, and like, you got to get out of this slump, and what were you going to expect? This is what happens with our line of work, blah blah blah, right? So by episode 3, like they've officially like become a couple, right?
He has.
Yeah, so by episode 3 they officially like become a couple, and he's enjoying it. Like he's just like, he's just like they've had, the feel, let's put it like this, not a couple, but like the feelings are alive and mutual, right? And the Batman character is like, I've always been gay, just none of you ever bothered to have a conversation with me, right? So they're doing the thing, and like they have a nice team up, and their Wonder Woman character was actually born male, and she had to give up her home because she was heir to the throne, and as a male, and by choosing this, they had to banish her, right? Okay. So she's a banished warrior woman because she chose to live her trans life. So that's a subplot that I want to explore in like season 2, right? But So like episode 3, they end up engaging with one of her battles, and she's like, oh, well, there's a dark god who's angry, and we're going to go handle shit. And like, so really cool team up episode. And then like nice, chill, like, oh my God, my Batman boyfriend's so great. We're having such a good time. And then at the very end of the episode, cliffhanger, his Batman has been taken by the Joker. Right?
Okay.
So episode 4 is him rounding up the other heroes, and he's like, how would Bats solve this? Like, we have to think like him so that we can do this. He's like, I can't do this my way because that's what this freaking buffoon is expecting, and he's just gonna set me up, right? So like, he does the thing where he tries to like run in to like save him, but he can't. He sets up a bunch of traps because the Joker character is expecting him. Right? So he's like, I can't do this my way. I have to think outside the box. I have to think differently than this. So that episode is about the team trying to work together and thinking like Batman to get in there and save their Batman character. And of course he leads it because he wants to go save his man.
Let's circle this all the way back to your original pitch on your original. That's an earned hookup at the end of that. That's a full-on story right there.
It's a very earned hookup because we start at the odd couple, right, phase, and then like, and I don't want to bore people with that, right? So like in the beginning, I want it to be very cute and see anime, haha, like, oh no, why do I keep blushing when he's around me? Oh, he touched my leg. Oh, why do I stare at him when he's working out in the gym? All that shit, right? And then like, then we focus on them actually like bonding and being friends, and the Batman character being like, dude, like, just because we do what we do doesn't mean you have to be miserable, but you also have to be realistic. So there's that conversation, and then of course action, because we are still fighting supervillains, right?
Right.
So like I really like that like arc. And then of course, like, my season 2 idea is they go to this warrior woman's home because it's been devastated by the dark god that they thought they defeated, right? And of course, he's more powerful now. And of course, she's going back there because these are still her people, and she's going to help them even though they gave her up, right? And so that's going to be the story. And of course, her Justice League comes with her to support her, and we'll still have all the character interactions, but this arc will be hers, where she's going to save her old friends, her old family, her old community, because it's the right thing to do. Even though at the end they will honor her bravery, but she will not earn back any of her titles. Like, all of that remains stripped away from her.
That's an incredible pitch, and you've got it a little mapped out for 2 full seasons. That's incredible, man. That blew me away. I love it.
I have this creative mind, and I think what we see in the public, what goes on in Hollywood, I mean, obviously we don't see reality, we see what the media presents, right? But it's still really shitty, and I still believe that art is about telling our stories, right? And that art still has to exist. And so like, I want to tell my stories, and I don't want them color coded or anything. I want them to be sharp, and I want them to be authentic. And so that means the good with the bad, right? Totally. So, and in this case with my warrior woman, I feel like it's the good with the bad. Her new friends, her chosen life, these people love her and respect her for exactly who she is and how she presents herself, right? And her old life, those people still love her as a person, right? But their traditions will not allow them to step any further than that. And the sad truth is that's sometimes the real story for people.
The passion is, you're oozing passion on this stuff. It's time to get on the keys and just write it, man. You just got to write it. That's the
Final Cut 13. Let's go.
Final draft.
I'm sorry, I haven't highlighted.
Final draft. Yeah, grab it and get on these pages too. And yeah, like here's a trick for Hollywood that I give like my students and stuff is everyone you talk to in Hollywood is going to say no to you. They're going to say no, 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 no. So your job is to remove as many no's as possible before you ever speak to them. So if this stuff is written and they're like, you, whatever.
Scott Liddell told me this. Scott Liddell told me this. So I interviewed him not knowing that he wrote the script to Happy Death Day.
Yeah.
Right? And he said, do you want to know how I sold that script? I'm like, tell me. He goes, because I wrote it. He's like, I gave them a written script. He goes, and then when they had notes for me, when they started filming, they said, well, we don't like this girl. Like, why do we have to start off not liking her? He goes, because she needs to grow. She needs to have an arc, because when we get to the end of the movie, we will be rooting for her.
Right.
He actually had to explain this to some of the executives who were pushing for a change in the script.
So we let's do another coffee and we'll talk about that and my experiences in Hollywood with those things. What you just described is ordinary, not the exception.
No, and that's how he sold it to me. He said the same thing to me. He says, this is the way it is. And he said, and you will be better off with a finished product. Those were his words to me. Well,
so you just got to remove the nose. It's like, okay, so like you have the greatest idea ever, but it's not written. First off, a lot of people have ideas, but they also need to sell the writer, right? So what's the advantage of paying you to script the script when they can take that idea to somebody else that has name cachet, they can sell to their boss. They need to be part of the process. They'll just, and this doesn't happen all the time, but it happens often enough. Things are in the zeitgeist. So you might have this idea that you think is the greatest ever. You pitch it to somebody, that person sends 3 or 4 emails around in Hollywood. All of a sudden it's disconnected from the conversation you had. Oops, it just was out there. And all of a sudden you realize like 10 months later that the thing you described is being made. And it's just like they went around the process of working with a new writer, somebody that didn't have the script. So remove all those no's and you'll have a better opportunity to get that yes. So it's like, oh, this is an idea. Here's a script. Or like they'll say it's too expensive. And you're like, oh no, these are all practical effects. This is how you would do it. So like some examples of that stuff that I've done, it's like you record what you're trying to execute with, and you actually make the like a test footage like Ryan Reynolds did with Deadpool or whatever. It's like, just show it. And all of a sudden they're like, no, you don't have a script. Oh shit, there it is. No, you like, this is too expensive. Oh shit, there it is. And it's like,
I love the Ryan Reynolds story. I love it so much.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Because, it was mysteriously leaked.
No. Yeah. Mysteriously perfectly leaked by them specifically for the reason of saying it was leaked, and then it worked all out. It's not everything. I would say most things are calculated. So just like when you're getting like some spoiler or something like that, there's probably some calculation there. It's probably less leaked than you would really think.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think no one believes that was truly leaked, right?
Oh,
because he got what he wanted. He wanted the public to see it and for the public to say hell yeah, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. And then the studio's like, I guess we're making this movie,
And what I just described to you, he removed all the no's. Like they're like, no, and he's like, oops, 100 million people want to see this, and they're like, brilliant, we thought of this. And it's like, no, for 2 years you said no to this, but now there's traction, like, and all the no's have been removed. So bam, you got it.
Yeah, no, I love it. And obviously audiences received it with very open arms.
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking specifically about Deadpool, if you just, the top 3 of the top 5 rated R movies of all time are Deadpool movies. That's like incredible. Like that doesn't calculate. That's unbelievable. The success they've had is unbelievable.
A24 I mostly respect them, but they've used AI a few times and it's upset me, but I do respect that they go for the untested people and give them a chance. I like that.
They have an interesting model at A24, but yeah, they totally do. So,
Also, I'm a big believer in let's pair up the untested with the tested, right? I think if you find someone who's got like heart and passion and talent and pair them with like their dream mentor or someone who aligns well with them, that is like wants to work with them. Let's create something together. I think that doesn't always happen in Hollywood, but when it does, I think we've gotten some really beautiful stuff as a result, you know?
Totally.
And
Totally.
sometimes it's just like a classic director with a younger actor who wants to work with that director, and then something blossoms from there. Or a director who has like a really specific vision and it's not something easy, and actors who are like, oh, that sounds wild, let's do it. Like Boyhood. Boyhood was a project, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like, we're going to film you at this age, and this age, all of you. And it's like,
that movie is one of one, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. But I think it's brilliant because you had to have, the cast had to be fully on board with the concept, you know?
Oh, and never walk away from it for a decade.
Right. And, like, you're not, and his daughter tried to walk away from it. His daughter's like, Dad, I feel weird about this. Can you kill my character off? And he's like, absolutely not. He's like, you're in. Everyone else is in, you're in. And she's like, oh my God. He's like, this is the only time in your life where I'm telling you exactly what you're going to do, and you're doing it. And she's like, oh, okay. You know? And also there's another film that Adam Sandberg is in, and he has a very serious role. He's like the main character's husband, and it's based on a true story. And there's an 8-year gap in filming, but they finished the project. And it's the only other movie I can think of where there's like a gap and like the director's like, we're going to make it work. It's like, we're telling these people's story and we're going to tell their story, and we're just going to do it. We're just going to be like, this will be them at one point in time. This will be them at the other point in time. And I'm telling this story. And I can't remember the freaking name of it. I think you might, somewhere in the canals of your memory, you might know what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of projects, not exactly what you just described, but you'd be surprised how many things are kind of have those production kind of scenarios where, yes, you started in one spot, but your creativity as a producer gets you to the end product, and then that's what ultimately gets out. And sometimes, not always, sometimes those are disasters, and you're like, was this piece together or something, and it doesn't even make sense. Other times, that's the best possible outcome for the project, and it's the best thing you've ever seen.
Lee with Kate Winslet.
Okay.
That's the movie. And there's a big gap in production. Not, there's a gap in production. There's a big gap in production. And they're like, we're finishing this movie. That's like the ads. Drew, thank you. Thank you for watching the ads. I love you. And I just absolutely love talking to you. You've gassed my ego up. And like, I love.
You're awesome,
it's like,
Cliff.
Thank you. See, like I need you to like live like you know, a mile away. And
well, that's the beauty of like, we're on the opposite coasts, but I mean, in some part of our childhood, we were potentially right down the street from each other. So now we've come.
I know. To think that you grew up like an hour and 20 minutes from me, you know, is like.
Really, I mean, funny. And my family is up and down. So, as like from Greenwich, Connecticut, down to Princeton, New Jersey, and further south, like it's just Italians strewed about.
My favorite demographic. I really do love Italian food.
Italian food, it'll do.
I love Italian men and Italian food. It's my favorite things. You know, I'm like,
most people think I'm Irish, which is funny. Like if you look at my brother and sister, my parents, like I just look like I'm adopted. But yeah,
you probably have a little bit of Irish, and you're all Europeans. You know, you act like nobody ever crossed one border into another, like it was unheard of.
Well, like if you know the Medici family, that's actually like Northern Italian. So like if you go back into the history books, like the Medici family actually look like me, like because they're like you know, borderline like Swedes and stuff, and like, or not Swedes, but like Swiss and stuff. So it's like Northern Italians can actually kind of look like me, but most Italians, they're like, yeah, you're Irish. I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean,
you're like, no, my family comes from an Italian banking dynasty. You're welcome. And
Yeah, no. Like like when people know the Sistine Chapel and stuff, the Medici financed that. They paid for it.
Yes, so. I know. You know, Michelangelo, Botticelli, y'all, and your ancestors were like this.
Yeah, it didn't last. It didn't make it. It didn't make it to me.
No, it didn't make it to you. But you know what? They had 150-year good run, roughly. So, like, you got to appreciate.
Fair enough. I can't complain. I shouldn't complain.
But yeah, no, Matteo, my ex-fiance, Northern Italian. So you know, I was finally educated on Italy's history, Italy's wines, Italy's foods. Which, by the way, I already loved Italian food, but like I love New York Italian food. Matteo made sure that I loved real Italian food.
Yeah. I actually don't eat a ton of Italian just because I think once you've had that stuff, like going to like in LA when it's like infused or something like that, it's great. It tastes great, but it's not like the Italian I know, which is the New York Italian, where it's like you're making the fresh pasta, like the gravy is like right then and there, like in the pot, brand new. It's like,
listen, last night I made pasta Philadelphia.
I love it.
I made the pasta with the Philadelphia cream cheese, and then I had zucchini, and that's, you know, spaghetti alla norena. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm not actually Italian. Let me just chop this up and mix it together.
Yeah. That's a lot of like a tomato sauce, to be honest. It's like what can you get in there that you make it that you love? But I love it.
Well, look at this, Am Comics. All right, guys, been a fun podcast. Got to get ready for the horror convention. Promise I'll watch the full episode because it has been a very fun conversation. Thank you, Amp.
Yeah,
and good luck with the horror convention.
Yeah, he's in Long Beach, which is like 30 minutes south of me, so in SoCal.
Good. Look at this. Italian foods, Italian dudes. Listen, when I did the DNA test and found out I was 9% Italian, my mom was like, oh, we finally have our answer for you. So, you know, growing up in a Puerto Rican household, even though I'm half Canadian, half Puerto Rican, but it was all rice and beans, pork chops, pasteles for Christmas, like you like very Puerto Rican. And I was like, yeah, this is nice. But every time we could eat out, I was like been demanding and begging Italian constantly, you know? Yeah. And my mom is like, this kid and pasta, like, I don't understand it, you know? But like, anyhow, so years ago when I did that test and it came back, she was like cracking up because she's like, I finally have an answer for you. I finally know the truth. And I said it wasn't the milkman or the ice guy.
So when people made fun of me for being adopted, we actually had a milkman in New York when I was growing up. We had the aluminum can.
We had a milkman.
I had the aluminum can in front of our house, and he would come by and drop the 2 gallons of milk, and I'd run out there and bring them in to put in the fridge.
Did you have them in the glass? The glass?
Yeah,
right, with the
it was like a cheap aluminum thing, like the mailbox, and then on the ground was an aluminum
mailbox, right? But you got the glass bottle with the thing on, with the cap on top, and when you crack the top, all the heavy cream was at the top.
Yeah,
do you remember that? And I would lick that off the top. You know,
that was legit. Like even like people in California, I'm like, no, I had a milkman growing up, and they're like, that's not a thing. I'm like, it sure was. It was like the ice cream man would come by, the milkman would come by, the mailman. There was all kinds of people doing jobs back then. Now it's the Amazon guy just doing it all. But
I know, but we had the milkman, and we also had an egg guy. His name was Frank. May he rest in peace. But
we had eggs too.
Frank banged on the door so loud he would wake the dead, and we're like, Frank, you don't need to knock this hard.
Yeah, that's the childhood, and everything else was at Gristides, which was the grocery store for my childhood.
Oh my God. And at one point in time, this is ridiculous. We owed Frank $3.65 for some reason, and he was relentless. You would think we owed him $365, you know? And I was like, oh my God, Frank, like I can't take it anymore. Here's $4. You don't have to give me change, Frank. No, I'm gonna give you the change. I'm like, oh my God.
That's old school.
I just wanted to end. And he had the little belt thing with the change.
Yeah. That's like, yeah, they have the ching ching. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is old school stuff.
Old school. I never want to fuck around and find out with Frank ever again. Look at this milk
That's old
mafia.
school. Old school.
Wow, to be a milkman seems like a lot of time. I don't know, but you know what? Like, we dramatize things and colorize them, but I feel like there's enough jokes about the milkman. I feel like milkman got some tail back then.
Oh, I would, yeah, write that script. That definitely happened. Like he's delivering more than milk, if you know what I'm saying, for sure.
Well, he's delivering heavy cream with that milk too. That's what's happening. What's happening.
You wonder why there were so many of them. It was a good gig. Let's just put it that way.
I bet it was, and like I'm sure it wasn't all of them, but there was a couple of them out there, and it's like, what's up with Lorenzo? Like, why does Lorenzo take an hour and 45 minutes longer than everybody else? And then you find out he was stooping Mrs. Finger, and then you're like, oh my God, her name was Mrs. Finger, and you're like, ah.
All right, you got to write a sitcom because Mrs. Finger and hooking up with the milkman is gold. It's gold. It's ready.
It is, and the thing is, like, look at Bill Finger. That was a common name once upon a time. There you
go. I love it.
I saw a wonderful clip of Jane Fonda on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and she said, my son was watching your show. Oh, really? He was? You had Zsa Zsa Gabor on, and she had a cat sitting across her, and she said to you, would you like to pet my pussy? And you said, so my son says that I would love to remove the damn cat. And he goes, I never said that. She goes, well, this is what my son saw. And in the meantime, I'm like, this is a legit clip, and I just think it's hilarious.
That is awesome.
You had to gaslight your wife to be lactose intolerant to keep your marriage secure. How about your wife was banging the milkman to keep your marriage together because you couldn't give her a kid, so she was trying to get you a kid, and this is what happens.
There's your drama. There's some layered conflict right there for your script.
That is, oh my God, the script will be the milkman where this guy is, that's it. The ladies in the 1950s realize that their milkman is incredibly fertile and their husbands aren't, right? And to solve the problem, they start banging this dude to get these kids. And then in the 60s, it gets complicated when the kids all realize that they kind of look alike and their parents specifically tell them not to date each other, right?
Oh man, now we're getting dark real fast. This is going from a comedy to a dark horror film. Did we lose Cliff? I think we lost him. Back?
I'll be right back. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Let's find something. Let's find something to entertain people with.
I can talk.
No, that's okay. We'll be right back after this break.
All right, I'm here, so I'll talk without Cliff. The comic that I was going to bring for the Bussy Buster was actually the most important book for me in my life right now, which is my graphic novel. Eric, I know we kind of touched on it at the beginning of the show, but yeah, it's a passion project that's been going on for a very, very long time. It's completely self-funded. It's 120 pages, 25, excuse me. There's 5 pages that aren't in this book. But yeah, I would love it if anybody is out there that can support the cause. The Kickstarter will start on Tuesday the 19th, unless something kind of derails the project. But otherwise, I would love for anybody out there to check it out. I can fill some time by talking about some of the stuff that isn't spoilerish. I'll talk about maybe the universe and like even what this is. Ready, brace yourself. I'm going to go super nerd on you. And some of you, if you've been in like one of Mark's streams, you might have heard some of this stuff. But I kind of pride myself on the science kind of working and being real and stuff like that. So in the near future, here he is. All right, good. Thank God. That was brutal.
You want to know what's so funny? The science being real. So I did something similar, right? Like with my characters for Himbo Heroes, right? The milkman must have been out the door. Now, feminism derailed what scholars refer to as the milkman poon train. Oh, the milkman always delivers. Hey, I watched that porno. And so anyhow, science being like legit. So I was researching, like, if I'm writing about superhumans, what is missing for people to be superhuman, right? And produce these wild abilities. And basically it was like, well, it comes down to you need a component, right? Like Captain America, it's the super soldier serum, right? And what's in that super soldier serum? We don't really know, right?
Right.
So the catalyst for the events in my World War II story are an alien metal that basically like crashed all over the planet, right? So everyone got their hands on it and everyone used it in various ways. Like it was like, oh, we can use it with weapons. And it's like, it's not too effective as weapons. And they're like, oh, well, we did some human experiments and then there was results, you know?
That's pretty cool. I love it.
So it does have various effects. But mostly the fact that it could interact with humans is like the thing. So like one girl, she's like a university student in the late 30s in Germany. And of course, no one, like the university staff, who's still mostly intact at the time, they like her. She excels. Her brains and her brawn excel, right? But of course, the Nazi party is drawn to her and they want to experiment on her. And because she happens to be somebody who's born from a peak level of genetics, she also gets peak levels of super abilities as a result. And then the experiment for Manny, the Puerto Rican guy, he is like, oh, we can use this metal to cloak our ships. We can turn our ships invisible with this metal, right? But the experiment that the other guy is messing with, when the lab explosion goes off, he ends up getting shadow powers as a result, you know, and things like turning invisible in sunlight, right? Like, because it's a variation of his experiment. There's another guy who is basically my Human Torch, and he has all these Human Torch-like abilities, right? But all it came from is he was just somebody who naturally runs hot, right? And the metal, being exposed to the metal, gives him a catalyst to control temperature, right? So like,
that's a cool power.
Because our bodies have some degree of temperature control and regeneration. This amped all of it for him, you know? But then like the side effect is like he's always hot, you know? Like he's always warm. But then that's kind of nice because then like Manny, who's a shadow character, whenever he's with him, you know, it's like he's like, you're always warm. Like, you know, like, ooh, you know, so
you can turn any pool into a hot tub real fast.
And then if I just make it that they're all the children of milkmen, I mean,
boom, synergy. And they can have Italian food on top of it.
Yeah. But it's funny, but obviously you did similar research, like where is technology going with health, right? So like even if your science is sci-fi science or super science or whatever we want to call it, you know, the underlying science exists, right? And so like
Totally.
so we'll probably get to some variation of this in the actual future, but based on what we know now, you can predict that this is what's going to go on, and you can write whole stories around that.
Right, totally. The some of the like terraforming of the planets and stuff. Happy to go into detail and expand on it, but I'll talk about it for an hour. Like everything actually does work. It's just the timetables of executing it. Like to move the planets would take like, you know, millions of years, but then I actually create a hotfix to do that like more quickly, and all those things tie back into the story. Like I would have to go into the details of what was going on for this to make sense, but basically I even create a hotfix to be like to expedite the process. So it only took 10 years instead of a million. So it's kind of important. It's not, you know, it's not the end of the world if the stuff doesn't completely work, but if you can explain it and then also stick to those rules, so you're not breaking them at any point in your story, it just gives you so much more depth to kind of create an immersive world. And then you put your characters into that crazy stuff, and it just becomes hopefully a great story.
You know what's interesting? It's like you created your own sandbox, and sandbox isn't a very
That's
interesting term. But I have found that the most creative stuff we've gotten in the realms of creativity, art, fashion, movies, books, is when people are trapped in a box, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance,
Lost.
Lost is one of them, but see, even Lost tweaked its own rules, you know? To make it work. I'm talking about stuff where you're trapped in somebody's rule box.
I mean, there's endless horror examples of it. Like
there are like oh my god, the faces and the things are there, and I can't think of the names, but there's like
give me a direction. Movie, TV show.
There was definitely a movie, definitely fashion. Fashion is the one I can think of the most. I think of Joan Crawford, her big ass shoulders, right?
Okay.
Her personal designer had to work everything around her shoulders. Every design, he had to make the design thinking about her shoulders. And as a result, it influenced an entire community of fashion. And not because it was the hip thing, but because she was the it thing, and he was making her look great with the shoulders, you know? And I just think that's a very unique thing. Like, he's like, there's nothing I could do about her shoulders. All I can do is design around it and incorporating it, you know? Or like, even like, and I'll take it one step further to like Project Runway, where like they'll have those design challenges, and it's like, today you must design your outfits based on what you found in this garden. And then they had to make it out of anything they brought from the freaking garden. They had to make floral dresses, grass and flowers, but they had to make that shit based on stuff that they found in the garden. They could not use anything other than muslin. I think they could use muslin to shape the outfits, but outside of that, everything had to be what they found in the garden. And I find those challenges, those creative challenges, to have beautiful results. And I know there was a book I was thinking of, but I lost it, where the those like the DC challenge, right? From DC Comics. It's not the first time anybody did this, but DC challenge, every issue was done by a different team, and every issue is left on a cliffhanger, and the next team had to keep running with it.
Yeah, pick it up.
Until we got to the resolution. And there's a DC Vertigo book or horror title or whatever, because, you know, they kept changing the name of everything, but they did the same thing. There was a different team on each book, each issue, and so each issue you had to get out of the trap that the last person left you in.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I love creative challenges. They're, first off, you grow a lot from them because you're given something to kind of, you know, problem solve with, versus just going into your own world. So And I've watched Project Runway. Those challenges are legit. I actually like all those kind of shows that do that stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah. No, because I love shows that will actually like work with your creative mind.
Yeah.
You know, I think
or challenge your creative mind, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. And so like watching people actually do stuff, I love it. And this is why I hate a lot of reality shows, because I feel like they don't really have anything to offer, right? Other than people are enjoying it for an escape from their own shitty problems, right? But like,
there's also nothing wrong with that. Like,
no, there's nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't serve me, right?
Yeah.
Like at a certain point, I was like, this doesn't like, it's not serving me, and like, and I don't need to feel restless over this rich bitch who can't solve her own problems. Right? I'm like, okay, she's got a $5 million kitchen in a 3,600 square foot fucking apartment. I'm like, I have a 1,200 square foot house. You know, I don't need this shit. I'm like, I got my own goddamn problems. You know, I'm like, I would just sell the fucking apartment and call it a day. You know, find a hot dude to bang, and that's it. You know. Also, let's see. Stagehand, wardrobe, producer, director requires immense amounts of creativity. Yes, it really does. It does.
100%.
You know?
100%.
I actually broke up with a guy, and because he was in theater, and I thought this was going to be fun, right? I'm like, oh, I'm going to date somebody in theater. This is going to be great. But all he did was complain about it. And I'm like, your job sounds amazing. You had to recreate a fucking set wall yesterday. And yes, that was awful, but then it looked amazing.
Yeah.
And
the small thing about a lot of people in this space is, but this is also what makes them great at what they do. There's like inherent drama all the time. So there can be some like infighting a lot of the time, but also that kind of pushes creativity from time to time. And you got to, like, when you talk to somebody like your ex or whatever, it's like the journey's the destination. If you're not enjoying like the process, why are you doing it? And then like you can kind of pull back and reveal to them, it's like, look at what you did today, like exactly what you just said, and you can kind of change their perspective. But there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that in LA and in Hollywood, where it's like endless amounts of like,
and in New York City.
Well, I mean, yeah, I shouldn't even say LA. It's just everywhere. You know, we're all like this going through life. Like we have our blinders on and we have our own perspective, and everybody has their own problems. So it's like, I'm with you on the reality shows when someone's like a millionaire. I'm like, just pump your brakes on the problems you have. Like I'll take the $100 million and I'll figure it out. Like that'd be great.
Yeah,
I'd never stop smiling.
Or the 6 million. You know, Mateo took me to the Hamptons once. We had a lovely long weekend in the Hamptons. I was so furious because the woman managing his restaurant at the time was like, oh, I can't do this. I worked 4 days in a row. And I'm like, get out of the restaurant business. You know, like I haven't had a week alone to my man in 2 years. And like, I had to cut this trip short. So, but while we're in the Hamptons, we're visiting a friend of a friend, and she's having a lovely house, lovely party. Everything is so beautiful, gated everything, all the horse shit, right?
Hey, lady, fantastic.
And Lady F. So like we go to this lady's house, right? Now the thing is, she was not born into money, right? Which is a good thing because she might have killed me. So she's complaining about how, like, hey Phil, she's complaining about how she got the house in the divorce along with $6 million. And she's like, I can't. And she's like, I don't know how I'm supposed to live off of $6 million. I don't know how I'm supposed to do it. And the kids have 2 more years of school. And you know, and so she's like desperate to sell this gigantic multi-million-dollar property, right? But she needs to keep up appearances for the kids, so she can't move, right? Until the kids are done with school, because she doesn't want to uproot their lives. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, you have $6 million and you're going to struggle over the next 2 years, right? And she looks at me because I can't hide my face, right? And she's just like, rich people shit, right? And I was like, I thank you. And then she laughed, and
at least she was self-aware.
No, because she wasn't born into money, right? But she had become accustomed to this, and because she became accustomed to it, and she's talking to us, and she's complaining like every other rich bitch that she deals with who were in attendance at this party, right? But because she wasn't born to money, there was still that bit of self-awareness living inside of her. And when she saw my face, she was like, rich bitch shit. Like, she realized it. She caught it. She knew it. And, and she's like, you know what? She's like, I kind of needed you here tonight to remind me to focus, because all I do is listen to these bitches. And that's why my head is all tangled up. And I was like, thank you. Like, because I was so afraid that I couldn't hide my face. And she gave me that look. And I was like, oh my God, she's going to tell Mateo to get me the fuck out of here. I could feel it. And she just was like, rich bitch problems. And it was great.
Then she went and got her milkman hooked up with him.
No, but she found a younger rich dude.
Good for her.
For real. She found like the rich version of you and just snatched you right up. I applaud her.
What?
No, she found this 42-year-old, and this is 10 years ago, so he's 52 now. But she found a 42-year-old, very handsome, in real estate, making that real estate money.
That's good money.
Yeah, he owned like 17 buildings in the city, and I was like, oh, this bitch has got it.
17 buildings in New York. This dude.
Yes. As part of his management group. And so we went to dinner at this penthouse steakhouse, right? The meal was like a $5,000 meal. It was insane, right? Mind you, there was more than 4 of us, right? But we get up there, everything is white glove. There's a special table set up just for us. There's a special menu just for us at the table. It was the best dining experience of my life. It was insane. Yeah,
that's a different kind of lifestyle, but awesome.
The whole time I'm like, Mateo, what is even happening? What is even happening right now, Mateo? It was so great.
My diet's a lot of eggs and rice, and basically what I can scrape together between purchasing 1 comic a week and funding my book. So
you got to do a little better than eggs and rice. I don't care if it's California. There's got to be managers discount meat every once in a while. You got to find.
I the one splurge that I have is my Costco membership, so I can go and get some grass-fed ground beef. So that's my
right. Get the 10-pound pack.
Exactly.
Carry it out to the car.
It's like throw it on your shoulder. And it's like, oh God, I'm eating good for like 10 days now. That's the my friends just absolutely roast me. By the way, they're like, all you do is go to Costco. I'm like, that's all I can afford.
Costco's amazing. Do you know how much we could do with $320 at Costco? My God, we would leave there with chicken and ground meat, and I'll be like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna make chili. We're gonna make a ragu, and we're gonna chili, a ragu. What else am I gonna? And we're gonna make some burger patties. Right. And I was like, all right, now we got the chicken. We're going to chop this shit up. You're going to have this chicken with some roast vegetables this night. Then I'm going to take the other half of this chicken. We're going to turn it into chicken salad. I like, get that celery out, chop up that celery, a little bit of what do you call it? A little bit of relish, right? Throw that in there. Make sure we got some good mayo. I don't know what kind of mayo y'all have out there. I think you have Best. So we'll use
John
that
knows.
shit.
John knows.
John, right. I don't have Costco. I unfortunately have the other devil, Sam's Club. So I gotta make it work. Well, because I hate where my money always goes to people I don't support. So I don't support the Walmart family and what that family does with their money. But I'm stuck. I don't support what Amazon's doing with their money, but I'm stuck. I don't like everything that Target does with their money. I like 80% of what they do with their money, but that 20% gets me upset. I like 95% of what Jelly Belly, what they do, but there's that one dude on their board of directors who's evil, and it pisses me off every time I want to get jelly beans. And now I fell in love with ChatGPT, and I'm probably costing some dude his shower when I use it. Everything is evil.
Hey, that's, I mean, you perfectly said.
Look at this. Look at this. That's right, John. That is right there. I make the burritos too. Like, Jonathan, I would be cooking up a storm over there. I'm like, let's go. We got everything.
I need a, it's also just a, I mean, like, it's a bitch to cook for yourself. When you only have one person, it's like, you can't really, you gotta, if you make anything, it's for like 4 days or 5 days. So
but that's the good thing, because at least you have some meals planned out, you know?
Yeah, but that's my existence. So the rice and the whatever ground beef I can get from Costco.
Listen, rice goes a long way. Yeah. And those microwave rice packs are not beneath me. They are not beneath me. All right. You just gotta make it work. All right, we're boring people to death. Let's get to our final segment.
All right.
I'm not sure we're boring people, but like we're losing ground, and only slab starts in 28 minutes. So
we're having a good time. So I'm enjoying our conversation.
I'm having a fabulous time, but I know where my demographic is. So let's get to the 5-finger shuffle.
All right.
I'll give you the seat of honor.
So I brought a couple different things, and I'm not sure where to start. So I'm gonna.
You start wherever you want. Wherever you want.
I'll do this one because this is a series of books, because it's actually about to kick back off, and there's actually a story behind it. But this is a Dark Horse book called Kill All Immortals, and I actually have like the whole series and all the variant copies, and they're all signed. If you haven't checked this book out, this is really cool. It's the main character, Frey, is she's an immortal in this family, like her brother's Thor, and it's this crazy battle. I don't want to spoil the book too much, because the twists and turns I didn't see coming, but it's a battle between an immortal family to basically, she's trying to protect somebody. Let's just put it that way. Came in from Costco, could talk about comics as well. Yeah, we'll pull it all together. But yeah, this is a cool, really cool run, and it was, the battles in this and the fights in this are ridiculously epic. And the second run of the book is actually, I think it's coming out like next week. So this is actually on my pull for like moving forward.
Oof. Well, apparently it's Eric the Red's daughter who's the star attraction of Kill All Immortals. So,
yeah.
And how appropriate, because you yourself being a redhead.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. I'm going gray quickly. The gray in my, it's coming out of nowhere. Let's see if I can show a cool splash in here without.
Just remember, you don't have kids. Use that energy that you would have put into them to keep yourself young. Some
of these fight scenes, this is like on the first page, but the action in this book is ridiculous, and it's just a popcorn movie in a comic book. It is. It's a good time, and you will not be bored with it at all.
I really love that.
And if we have more time, I could even another reason about the book. So at my university, for years and years and years, I've been trying to get a comic book class created, because I think, just like being able to get a screenwriting degree, a producing degree, a writing degree, whatever, there's no real programs where you can actually create comic books. So I'm happy to say, like, this last year, after about 4 or 5 years of really trying to get this to work, I worked with the creator of this book, and our programs, we have a comic book class now, and he actually teaches it. So in the near future, hopefully we'll build out something where you actually are getting you can get like maybe not a minor, but a series of classes to actually produce your own comic book and kind of get that kind of education at a film school, which is, I'm actually pretty proud of that. So that's another reason why I'm showing the book.
As you should. Should.
All right. Am I doing all 5 in a row?
Yes, you do all 5 in a row, baby. Come on.
No, I'm thinking we're swapping here. Okay, so here's
this portion is for you.
okay. So here's
You're the star.
okay. So my collecting journey started when I was a kid with Marvel Masterpiece cards, and then I do have a bunch of comics as a kid, but they kind of just sat in a box because I couldn't really read them. So I would look at the art and kind of put them away, and they were precious. And this was my paper route. I was just all about this. Like every week I would go get, not every week, maybe once a month, I would go to Fashion Fair Mall in Fresno and get whatever I can get, some packs, a box, whatever. But yeah, comics have always been part of my life, but it's also, I haven't really been collecting. But so this is going to be a slab because there's 2 parts to this. One, I dipped my toe into eBay and made that mistake and started spending way too much on eBay. But I was always disappointed or anticipating the arrival of Darkseid in the Snyderverse. That never happened, and I'm still mad that it didn't happen. So this was a slab that I got.
You saw him.
You saw him for a minute, just like you saw Thanos in a bunch of different things before we actually got to Endgame and Infinity War. But yeah, so I put in So I put in a like.
Look at you having a 0.5 higher than me.
Had to do it. But yeah, so the crazy thing about this book.
We're almost twinsies. Okay, I love it. Back to you.
Like when I saw this on, I gave the craziest low bid of my life, like half the number, and I was like, let's just, and boom, like 30 seconds later, it was like sold, and I was like, I was like,
same here.
I was like, holy shit. Okay, number one, if the person on the other side realized how much I then purchased on eBay after that, they would have done it a million times over again. But that was the incentive. Then I just started throwing out all kinds of bids, and I got all kinds of stuff. But
listen, I sent a low bid for my first General Zod, and they took it, and I was like, woo!
eBay is interesting. Like it's addictive and dangerous. So it's like somebody who's eating rice, like you got to stay off that shit. Like
whatnot is more dangerous. Okay,
I don't even have Whatnot.
eBay, yeah, you can't put that. Don't put that on your phone. You can't. I had to take it off my phone. We can't have that. But eBay, there's some control because like eBay makes you go through a task, right?
Yeah.
So like you actually have to think about it. But where eBay is dangerous is like, oh, let me put 4 stupid bids out there, and then you're like, oh shit, I won all 4 stupid bids. Oh, that's wonderful. But also, where am I getting this money?
Oh, you know my life way too well.
Yeah.
You were literally talking about me. So saying with the Darkseid, and this is a book that I think this is cool for me. And I'll tell the story on this. So I'm a big fan of John Jang. And if you look down here without the glare,
by the way, you could tell how much of a fan of John Jang I know you are if you paid attention to the thumbnail that I made for this episode.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. So, yeah, the story here is that it's actually one of these badges back here. So the cool thing about it, if you get an industry badge for a con, you can go in whenever you want. So you can go in 2 hours before, no one will be in there, but you can go into like, San Diego Comic-Con, WonderCon, LA Comic-Con, whatever it is. Yeah, Jang Gang for sure, John. So I went in. So I'd gone to my LCS the day before this, and I think it was WonderCon. And I bought all 3 copies of these because this is a 1 in 25, I believe. Yeah, 1 in 25.
And you're like,
so
I showed up all of them.
Yeah, so I got all 3 of them, and even my shop, which is kind of funny sometimes, they're like, you can't have all 3 of them. I'm like, isn't the point to sell them? Like, I want them. Give them to me. They're awesome, by the way. I love my comic shop.
Yeah.
So they gave them to me. And I was like, WonderCon's this week. Like, I'm going. And I went to John's booth to talk to him probably 30 minutes before the con started. And I was like, hey, dude, you want to give me a sig real quick? And he's like, I've never seen this book. And I actually gave him one of the copies. And then that says that's the first sig. That's what that says. So John Jang, first signature ever on this book. So I thought that was really cool. Those are the Forever People, Darkseid. I'm going to go to a trade now because that's just, for me as a writer,
That's okay.
I look for, not only do I look for stuff that I just enjoy to read, but also to learn from. And this, I think, is for me, if this isn't number one in the pantheon of comic book stories, it's hard to, it's interchangeable in the top 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever you want to put it in. But I'm just a huge fan of Kingdom Come, and especially,
you should be.
Yeah, I think everyone is, right? But I know, so it's kind of a dumb thing to bring up, I suppose. But you got to like, if you're new to the comic book world or old or whatever, you should just read this periodically because it's that good. Like, I mean, I think Mark Waid, awesome, smoked it out of the park. It works on so many different levels. It asks really difficult questions. It puts the characters in situations that are more or less impossible. Like there's no right or wrong answer. There's, the religious undertones. There's just so much there. And if you've ever seen this the script is actually in the back of this version, which is really cool. Like, go back and check that out. Like all the concept art and stuff like that. So this is like, you can see the bookmark. Oh, it's folded in here somewhere. But I like periodically grab this, and it's just something that I go through periodically. Where are we at? That's number 3 or 4. So this next one is a transition. I actually started writing my comic book before that, so there's a bit of a story to this. But when I was in grad school, I was getting a internship. One of the things, if anybody ever goes to film school or anything like that, or anybody listening to this, the most valuable thing you can get from going to film school is the network you can build and the opportunities you can have with internships. So I had gotten an internship at like a shitty boutique management company where like 2 bros were in like a closet. And I was like, oh man, I can't believe I got to take this internship. And then my film school, because I had been doing well in the program, called me and they're like, hey, what are you doing for your internship? I'm like, oh, I'm going to this crappy one. And they're like, no, you're going to go to the Combine, which is Jeremy Renner's production company, and you're going to work there.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, hell yeah, let's do that instead. So I went to, so the process there, the funny thing was, and I can't say the name of the script, but my kind of like interview, kind of let's see what this kid's got kind of thing, is they gave me a script. It's called Coverage. You read scripts and you kind of break it down for them. And it was a script about, it was, Jeremy never made the movie, but he was going to be a old school comic book creator. Let's just put it that way. And they had the rights in the script and everything. And I went in and read it, and then I went into my interview, and this is how the interview went. I broke down everything, the marketability of the movie, the like who you need to do, when you would release it, and all these things. And the person across from me was like, we just got off the phone with CAA and WME, and they said all the same things you just said. How did you do that? And then they were aware that they had seen the first 30 pages of my comic book. So they were like, we want to make comic books. Can you teach us how to do that? So this was part and parcel to my job when I was there. This is done by Don Hanfield, which is the president of the Combine, Jeremy Renner's production company. Here's a little, if you've ever seen the show Nightfall on History Channel, that was what they were like making at the time and stuff like that. So, and then all of the, obviously the movies that are associated with the company, but he kind of wrote in here, like I could read it, but it says, this would not have been, we couldn't have done this without you. Thank you for all that you, so anyway, we found a Brazilian artist. I believe he was from Brazil, but it was like, I brought everything about it, and they made this killer book. And I think this is actually, I'm like 99% sure this is actually purchased by Apple or optioned by Apple. But this is kind of maybe the first book I helped produce. Early on in my...
amazing. Yes, Leno Carvalho is Brazilian, yes. And
yeah.
Of course, he works with Joe Prado. Of course, bringing it full circle.
Yeah. So the crazy thing, the funny thing is some of this art, the art is beautiful in here. Like there's just no, I want to get a good page. The art is absolutely beautiful in here. And every time so the original process for the art, I think I literally originally got like hundreds of artists, hundreds. And then we vetted it down to like 10. And then I was presenting it to the president of the company, and it was like narrowing it down. And then he's like, no, let's go swing for the fences. And he wanted to get this artist, and I don't remember their name. They ended up quoting like $1,500 a page. And I was like, that's why we can't do that. Like, that's why we can't, that's not producible. So anyway, that's how we got back to this. But yeah, this is a cool book. I actually got this exact copy at San Diego Comic-Con 2017 or 18. So they were releasing Nightfall, and then next to it was their booth, and I got this copy from them, and they gave it to me. So that was really cool.
I love the premise of the book. You know that like there's rifts between space and time, and these World War II agents have to address them.
Yeah, it's a good read. It's a good book. Like it's fun. It's fun for sure. And they actually did another book called The Source. So it was 2, and I think both of them were either optioned or acquired by Apple TV. So I don't know what the logistics is on that. I didn't follow up, but that was a cool project. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun being at that place for a while, and I was there for quite a bit. So, and then the last, I think this is the last one for today. Again, it's a series of books, but I want to show like how I can get suckered into cool stuff and just overspend at my LCS on any given like run of things.
As we all do.
As we all do, right? So like, I'm a movie guy. I love these kind of like weird, crazy runs. And I went in on the first day this came out, and I got this 1 in 50. Yeah, this is issue 1. Yeah, the 1 in 50, and I was like, shit, now I got to get all the 1 in 50s. So I went through, and I got every single one. And they figured out that I was buying every one. And this book, like this sticker, is why they ripped me off. They knew I wanted it at this point, and it was like, we're not going to charge you $50 for this 1 in 50. This is going to be X. And I was like, come on, guys, you know me. Like, this isn't fair. And then they went back to the normal price, but I was lucky enough. This is still one.
I'm like, I know this is a $50 book. Come on.
I mean, it really, to be completely honest, it should be, it really shouldn't maybe even be 50 when you're getting it. But I got suckered into it. And first off, I really love this run. This was super fun. If you guys haven't read this, go back and check it out. I know they're doing the second run now. So yeah, that's like my kind of collection in a nutshell. Like, I'll see my LCS, I'll go in there on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. right when the door opens. I'm there every week, and they go, John, the variants are over there. And I just go and look at all the variants. They literally, that's what they say. They're like, oh, John, the variants are over there. And I'm like, okay, let me see if I can get out of here without buying like a $25 book.
You're like, will I survive?
Will I survive? Yeah. So like that's of the like 4 or 5 long boxes I have over here in my little microscopic apartment, I would say like 80% are variant covers, and I just get suckered by them every single time.
4 or 5 long boxes?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes some sense. Why have you? You know what? You're still strong. I saw them biceps and triceps. You can still pick up a long box. I'm like, my old ass. I've switched to all short boxes.
Well, here's even like I'm gonna own myself here. Like, I had so many books. Well, this is not a big number of books, but it was a big number for me. I was like, I just need long boxes, and I brought them home, and I was like, why did I do this? This was the wrong decision. This was stupid. But then I had them.
Correct that decision when you head over to BCW and you put in Cliff Comics for 10% off your order of short boxes.
I promised that. I just set you up, and I promised that was not planned, but perfect transition. You are welcome. I'll take 2% of that 10% that you're getting.
You know what? I'm gonna buy your book. Okay, that's the trade-off here.
Oh man, yeah. So yeah. Thank you so much for that. Like, yeah, I'm messing around. I'm kidding around. I appreciate you guys so much. If you're able to do that, I'm just totally joking around with you.
But I'm not joking. Buy his book. No.
That'd be like it. Look, here's the honest truth. For anybody that's listening, like, I hope if you're interested in it, you check it out, and if you can afford maybe a digital copy, or if you can get a physical copy, but only if it's something you can actually afford, and it's not something that you're not comfortable with doing. Like, the truth about producing my book and all these things is like, I'm just trying to like do my best to entertain people and make people happy. So if you can manage it and you think it's something you'd enjoy, I would very much Love it. Here are some of the rewards real quick that I think are kind of cool. If you're okay with me sharing, Cliff.
Go for it.
So these are the chapter covers in the book, and I think this is one of the cooler rewards you can get. So you can purchase that page and do what you want with it. So there are 4 available, and you can write a quote to someone you love or a family member, or put your, advertise your YouTube channel. Or this book is really about family and love, and it's a hero's journey. So that's what the goal is, hopefully, for if you end up getting one of those pages and putting some stuff on it. And there is a qualifier. It is, you can't put anything that like I won't approve, but I think that's a really cool special feature, and that will be in the print run for the book. There's a couple of these available. These are the test prints. Obviously no cover. It says right there like where it all begins, because I'm hoping that this is just book 1. I actually have 3 more books written that as soon as I can afford to produce them, they will be a go for production. There's an option to buy this book, which is literally a chapter 1 first time. This is the one with, so obviously no cover. This is just a panel from the book I ripped off. But this is a first time pages were ever put to print. You'll be able to purchase that in one of the tiers. I can't show you, but this artwork has a little nudity in it, but that's not in the.
And the Kickstarter begins August 19th in 3 days, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Actually, I just got in real time the email from the cover artist to hopefully we have that second cover. Otherwise, if something happens there, we might have to push just a little bit. But everything's locked in for the 19th and on Tuesday this week. And I know you guys know how the algorithm works, but if anybody's available for like the first 48 hours to help, I'm going to need a lot of help. I don't have like much of a social media presence because you guys, I'm kind of dependent on you guys in your awesome community. So thank you guys, I guess is the best way for me to, it's the only thing I can really do.
We're just going to have to give you an August 19th Rainbow Tour special.
All right. Hey, I'm in.
Be like, let's move. All right. So, John, Only Slap starts in 6 minutes and 10 seconds. And it was a pleasure having you on, a pleasure talking with you. You were great.
Thank you so much.
Listen, thank you for being here. This was great. Everybody, remember to like, to subscribe. And I have a very big giveaway happening at the end of the month for members, and a little something for subscribers. So tune in. That's going to be beginning Friday night, which is the 22nd. And my guest will be Hoya Comics. And we're going to do a Lois Lane Metropolis, a.k.a. a Manhattan, but with a little special spin. And we will see you then. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Love you. Go enjoy some Only Slabs. You have a great weekend, folks. Love y'all.